Hey everyone, welcome to Ultimate Awesomeness podcast. I'm here with
Ooh.
I'm here with Eric. They got a little jumpy. And I'm
No,
Steven.
sorry, I've had a few glasses of wine tonight.
Oh, okay. I guess that's fine.
I'm a little relaxed right now.
All right.
And I'm also drinking some bourbon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been a nice night.
Oh, that's good. Hmm, that's fun.
But anyway, yeah, I'm Eric.
Yeah, I'm Steven. Um, so yeah, and I guess I'll just start rolling.
What were we going to start with?
Disney talking. Disney buying Fox. That's what.
Really buying stuff. Yeah, that's been a big story of the week, right?
Yeah, it's been a big talk of the week. As of last week, and
I think it was Thursday they officially
yeah,
started announcing that, yeah, they are in a final talks to do it, so it's going to be official.
yeah,
Which means a lot of stuff involving the future of the Marvel film universe. So
yeah. I've heard things about it. They said they are officially moving towards putting X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four into the MCU.
mhm.
And I heard some things with Kevin Feige. He's saying that he wants to scrap X-Men, like restart it, and just keep
Yeah,
Deadpool.
yeah, I can see the positivity of it. You see, that's the thing. Out of everyone in the X-Men line, Deadpool's the only one that makes sense that he can like cross between the two. Um, it's unfortunate for all the actors who thought that they were going to have all these long-term, like kind of contracts with Fox for their X-Men roles, but that are now probably not going to be honored. But at the same time, a lot of people are. I guess I've heard people are happy that what's her name, Sansa Stark, is not going to be in any more X-Men movies because I guess she's the weakest link. She goes, but I don't know. I've not seen the. I didn't see Apocalypse, and I didn't see.
Yeah, I didn't see Apocalypse either. I've yet to see Apocalypse.
Yeah. I wanted to. I just never got a chance to, and my interest kind of waned over.
Oh,
I only watched First Class because Michael Fassbender was in it, and James McAvoy because I love those guys.
yeah.
And then I watched Days of Future Past because of the continuation of them in their involvement. But First Class was those things better.
Yeah, I still like First Class a lot. Well, it was different. It was a different director, or I guess writer. It was Matt Vaughn. I think that's why it was sort of different. And I thought Days of Future Past was decent. I guess.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I liked it. I liked it, but it's one of those things that
It's a very flawed movie, to be honest.
it's a fun movie, but it's just one of those.
I mean, flawed. I said flawed.
Okay. I
Okay.
didn't hear that. But no, what I was thinking about Days of Future Past, I did enjoy it, and that's probably, but I did enjoy it less than First Class, and I think that is why I was excited for Apocalypse. But part of that as well was I love Matthew Vaughn's vision for X-Men in First Class, and there was a definite tonal shift when Bryan Singer took over.
Yeah, there was. That's why I didn't like what he did with it either.
And Bryan Singer is one of those directors that is like lauded as this like great director, and I've noticed over time that like his only really good movies are The Usual Suspects and the first two X-Men movies. And I mean, Superman Returns is also pretty decent, but it has its own flaws in it.
It's all right.
Yeah, a lot of the things people complain about with Man of Steel, I feel like is present in Superman Returns, where it's a bit more brooding. a Superman compared to Man of Steel or the previous Christopher Reeves movies. But like, I just feel like he moves in a kind of cynical mindset when it comes to his superhero movies, and I don't know why that is. And that's what I get from my memory of Days of Future Past. I haven't seen it since I saw it the first time, but I remember enjoying it, but not having as much fun with it as I did with First Class. Because First Class was just, like, had so many elements to it that was both fun, dark, great action sequences, and a real nice morality tale between Mystique, Magneto, and then Charles, where of what is the true, what is the true good, or somewhere in the middle. So I just had no interest in anything after that. After it kind of just like made it just a bit more simplistic and like a big action pieces and no heart to it. There was no good humor to Days of Future Past. There's no levity. It was just kind of beat you over the head with dire circumstances.
Yes, that's what it seems like. That's what it looks like. That's what happened. You're right. I agree with that.
So I haven't seen Apocalypse, so I don't know much about like the younger kids playing the younger versions of like Cyclops, Jean Grey, and all that stuff. But I am curious about the new Phoenix movie, see if it's good at all. But I also don't have a lot of hope for it.
Yeah.
It feels like they're rushing into it and not earning it, and that's the thing. I have a problem with a lot of the superhero blockbusters, is that there's a problem with earning a lot of character moments. And
yeah, they definitely do rush them a lot. I've noticed that lately. Marvel wasn't doing it at first, but now they're starting to do that too. I just
here and there, I feel like certain movies do in the current art, like Captain America. I feel like just like earns a lot of his next levels. Iron Man earns a lot of his next level. I feel like Thor finally earned his next kind of level, as opposed to previous movies where he just like he wins, but it never feels like he learns anything from anything other than from the first Thor movie where he's like, well, I think I kind of like her. I think I'll help protect her. I'm not going to be an asshole anymore. Because like he's a spoiled brat before that, but now he learns a bit of that. But outside of that, there's no like, I don't know. It just Dark World just feels like everything's thrown at the wall. And that's the same thing with a lot of Marvel movies, even the ones I like. I mean, Doctor Strange I like, but at the same time, it still feels a little rushed. And that could be the fault of comic books having 70 years or 50 years or 60 years of history for each character, that you kind of have to compress into a simple, like a easy to digest origin movie. But yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But that's the fucking thing. Going back to what we were first talking about, there's bad things for Disney buying Fox, And I'm seeing the X-Men fold into the regular Marvel universe. I'm not super excited about, except Deadpool, really.
Yeah, I don't know what they could, I don't know how they could fit Deadpool into MCU. I think I can see it, but I'm not perfect. I don't have perfect ideas for that. I mean, like, I don't know how exactly it would fit, but
it's a couple ways with that. One, see, here's the thing: Deadpool is a character that we understand as being a very meta character. That he can make references to this stuff, and everyone just looks at him crazy. No matter what, it doesn't matter, because people are going to always look at him like he's like an idiot, because that's just his character. Because he's smarter than anyone perceives him to be. He's always smarter and faster than anyone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He comes off as an idiot because of that, and that works within the confines of like merging the companies and throwing him into the Marvel universe. And when it comes to his vulgarity, there's many ways that they can go around that too. Because one, either he's going to be like, oh, I can't say that. You know what? I'll just live it. Or even he has like a thing where maybe he starts being censored by with his language when he's in other people's movies. I mean, though, because when he's as far as I think they said in the same kind of press releases that his solo movies will still be rated R and just as violent and vulgar as they have been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you read the
Yeah, it's just because I don't know, I read it somewhere, I forgot where, but I heard that Kevin Feige just wants to keep Deadpool and he wants to scrap everything else. So
I mean, it makes sense. You know, as we said, there's a lot of, as we said before this, in I guess private. I don't know if we recorded in previous podcasts, but the MCU, I mean the X-Men movie universe, and in general the X-Men are too complicated a character group to properly fold into the main Marvel universe, especially in this context. So they're gonna have. You know what? It's so many things. I'm also just thinking right now. They've never had mutants before and been able to say mutants, and now all of a sudden mutants are going to exist. So that's going to be weird. I wonder if the second act of Infinity War is now being changed currently to reflect sort of a. Remember, you read Secret Wars, right?
Not the old one, no.
Yeah, but the current one.
Oh yeah, yes, I did read the current one. Yeah, the one with Jonathan Hickman. Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan Hickman's released. I wonder if in the second part of the Infinity Wars thing, they're going to do like a Secret Wars thing, and do the incursions, and then cause the whole universe to kind of implode, and that way they can restart with the X-Men stuff. And probably that's their cue to recast some of the older characters like Iron Man to make him younger or something, so that they can keep his character going for a lot longer.
Yeah. I was thinking another thing was that they might I don't know, I guess they could just do like use a reality gem.
I mean there's so many options. It's comic books,
Yeah, maybe my boyfriend was discussing this. We're thinking that they can use the reality gem, or Scarlet Witch finds out she has her reality powers, and they can recreate the universe as like a reboot, like a fresh reboot, like saying like how the mutants and X-Men were always there, and then they can use the X-Men movies to introduce them, like something like that, like like not a complete reboot, but like a sort of a reboot. Like there's the same universe, but just the X-Men were always there, or the Fantastic Four.
What I'm interested in is also like, are they gonna make Scarlet Witch now the daughter of Magneto? Or are they gonna bring Quicksilver back in this whole situation? And if they bring Quicksilver back, are they gonna bring the Avengers version, or are they gonna bring the more popular X-Men movie version by Evan Peters? There's a lot of things with it, and even then, they might not do any of that. They might just kind of like finagle their way into it. That's why I feel like everyone being excited for finally the X-Men are going to fight alongside the Avengers. I've never been excited for that, because even in comic books, it's ridiculous to make, because it's too many characters.
Oh, well, I did like Avengers vs. X-Men, but I don't think that's going to happen right now. I mean,
oh yeah, no, for sure not. No. For sure, it's just more because to me,
people are already jumping ahead. Like, I've seen articles about Avengers vs. X-Men theories, and I'm like, you guys are just jumping way too much into that.
Well, I'm not saying that because I've not read that story, but it's more just the general sense of like, the X-Men are it's just a unique concept within the Marvel universe, and widespreading one that it complicates the existence of everything else to me, because it works better as its own kind of independent storyline in its own world. Like if X-Men was its own comic book company line, like Valiant or something, and it was all just kind of about a mutant comic book company, it'd make more sense to me, as opposed to a universe that involves the mutants and then also these metahumans that exist. I mean, metahumans existing in the same world as mutants doesn't bother me. It just speaks how the Avengers are respected, but the X-Men aren't, sort of thing. But I mean, I'm reiterating what many people say about that.
Yeah, I think it's your own personal feelings about well, I had those feelings too. I get tired of the X-Men being hated. But
yeah. At this point, they should be loved.
I know. But I think they're gonna still do that since it's the beginning of the X-Men. Because I don't even notice, but the humans already hate Inhumans. And in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they do that a lot. Like, the humans feel different about it. Inhumans.
Yeah, I've noticed that from what little I've read of different Inhumans, usually from Miss Marvel titles, because it comes up every once in a while in Miss Marvel issues. And it's overall just, it's weird. It makes more sense with Inhumans because it makes sense to me, like, how people can hate within the universe, like, say, Atlanteans, or at least or in the DC universe, how people can be afraid of Aquaman and the Atlanteans because they're their own hidden society, and Inhumans are their own kind of secret society. It's not hidden, but it's secret because of its ways and whatnot. So they can't completely trust that. X-Men has that a little bit too, and I can see where that comes from. But, like, it's also like anyone can be a mutant. Anyone can be an Inhuman, but it's still different because when you're an Inhuman, you're found by the other Inhuman royals, and they find you and they help train you, and they kind of take you away from normal society and bring you.
Yeah, I noticed they was doing that. And
yeah, I mean, that's my little limited knowledge. That makes more sense to me as to why people don't like Inhumans.
Yeah, and that's
But you read more Marvel than I do, so.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
You do read more Marvel than I do, as far as I can tell. Like,
I wasn't sure if who reads more. I didn't look into that.
no, it's just more because, like, I kind of look to you for some of those, like, actual history knowledge.
Yeah, I do have history knowledge on Marvel.
Especially with X-Men, because you're currently reading a lot of the X-Men titles. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Like, you were telling me about the recent Jean Grey issue, and
you said, did you read it?
I haven't read it. I just know about the twist.
Oh, okay.
I've seen the panel and everything, and I was reading it. Someone posted on Reddit. I was like, wow, that's really messed up and crazy, and what does this mean for the rest? But I didn't know the context because I haven't been reading any X-Men stuff.
Oh.
So.
Okay, I guess we could just go back on topic and try to finish it off. I don't know, but I really hope, I'm really glad that this already happened with Disney, and I just remain hopeful that things will go well with the entire X-Men and Fantastic Four and Deadpool into the MCU. I mean.
Yeah.
I just don't know I'm happy, but I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it until I see it.
Yeah.
And I just don't.
Because of the Fantastic Four stuff more than anything.
It's just that it's kind of crazy how, Kevin Feige wants to scrap everything the X-Men is done, and it's like there's already an X-Men Dark Phoenix movie, and
yeah.
There's New Mutants. And then they have the X-Men Gifted show, and they have Legion. It's just, that's all gonna be gone, I guess.
I'm curious. Yeah, it's true, huh? Because Legion is considered one of the best new series of the year.
I'm really not liking it so far. I mean, that's just, I guess.
I haven't seen it myself, but
I saw it. I didn't like Legion because. They just didn't use Legion's actual powers. They made him into Professor X.
Right.
And it's just not.
X is his son in the comics, right?
Yeah, he's his son, but they don't have the same exact powers.
Right.
Because they took out his.
It's one of those things,
yeah. They took out his multiple personality disorder, and I think that's what's kind of important to Legion, and to get rid of that, just change his character completely.
They took it out. Is it what did they do instead? Because from my perception of the show, it seems like it still deals with mental illness overall.
Yeah, I mean, like they did make it seem like he was crazy, but like they make him seem like, oh, it's just his mutant powers that people feel that he was crazy about, but it wasn't. He's not crazy. He just has a. It's like, I try to see if I can explain it better. Because he thought he was schizophrenic, but then he finds out that he just has mutant powers that he can hear things. And
like Professor X.
Yeah, and
like it's not he's crazy. He's hearing other people's voices because he literally is hearing other people's voices.
Yeah, because he is actually hearing other people's voices. That's what they made it seem like. Instead of him, it's so he finds out he has telepathy and telekinesis, and I'm like, no, that's not his powers. Just stop. And
right.
They got rid of the multi-personality disorder. It's not schizophrenia. It's actually multi-personality disorder he has, not. So they just mix it up with that.
Huh. Yeah, he's one of those things I don't know much about Legion other than small snippets like that. So.
Yeah.
I guess it's popular for more of the people that aren't don't know Legion as well, and they just like a good show that deals with the story that it does deal with. But for those who are fans of it, can be frustrating because it gets a lot wrong.
Yeah, they do get a lot wrong.
Yeah. That might be good for you because maybe they'll do a proper Legion series that does his character right, or introduce him into the movies.
Yeah. It's just Gifted. I haven't watched Gifted, but it's only had like it's only the beginning of its first season, and just to scrap it is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the TV shows that have been in development because it's all like Fox really trying hard to build off the X-Men as their Marvel thing, and now it's kind of like to some degree gone away. But I guess we'll see. I mean, maybe they will try to keep some of it because they were critically lauded. At least Legion was, and that's got to count for something for them. That they'll want to keep that because fans will want to keep seeing it.
Yeah, I'll see what they can do.
That's a lot. I just realized that I forgot about the shows because I forgot about them. So that's actually very interesting. New Mutants I was curious about more than anything because they're really hyping that up for the upcoming year. That and the Phoenix movie. So what do they do with those?
I don't know. Seems like they're not gonna do anything because Marvel wants to scrap it all and just keep Deadpool.
They're still gonna release them so they can.
Yeah, they're gonna release because they said that that Disney I guess Disney acquisition of Fox is not put into place until 18 months.
Okay, that gives them time at least.
Yeah, because I think they still have to go through papers and stuff. And
okay, so they probably won't even see any of the fruits of it for another.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I'm sure is going to happen because they know they can get away with it anyway. They can use certain elements to build storylines that's going to build into the next phase without worry about repercussions because they know that they're going to get everything anyway. So.
Yeah, it's just taking time to I guess get everything in order. So it takes I guess they say 12 to 18 months to get that process. So Deadpool 2 and X-Men Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, they said those 3 movies will still be released. Anything after that might be scrapped.
It was just funny because the Gambit movie has been scrapped 3 or 4 times now. So.
Yeah, people are afraid the Gambit movies will be completely scrapped, and people also afraid about the X-3 spinoff. Yeah. They said they'll probably be scrapped too. Huh?
Oh yeah, because of Logan, right?
Yeah, they was planning to do that. There was no official title or anything. This is an X-3 spinoff.
Huh.
And they just.
Do you know if it was going to involve her growing up or just following that character?
It was her gonna be in a new team called. It's like the new X-Men characters. I don't know if you remember. There's a team called New X-Men, in the 90s, I think. It had X-3, and it had a whole bunch of New Mutants. Huh?
Oh, New X-Men. That was the beginning of 2000s. That was the Grant Morrison series with Zorn.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. It was like
Yeah, I know about that.
it had like a bunch of teenagers like Prodigy, Surge, and it had X-3 in there too. So I think they was taking that as inspiration to make a movie out
Alright.
of.
I mean, that would have been cool. I mean, I hope they utilize that girl somehow because I feel like she was a great, I mean, by this point, they can reintroduce her as the same actress too,
Yeah.
one way or the other, and finagle her into the current time. It's so many things because it's comic book stuff, it's time travel stuff, it's going to be
Yeah, just
multiple universe kind of.
because I heard I also heard that Disney and Marvel wants to use they want to make a new Wolverine movie, but they can't.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman said that he's done, so he doesn't want
Yeah, he's done. For sure.
to. He said he does not want to do any more movies, superhero movies. He's
It's kind of too late for him to because he wanted to do the whole fighting with the Avengers, but after Logan, he said he's done.
yeah. That was before Logan that he said that, and now
And I was thinking that was the time to buy it.
now it's too late. He doesn't. He feels different.
Yeah, it's like I would love to, but at the same time, you know what? Those are things send off. I can't disrespect that.
Yeah.
Especially because he's not gonna play Wolverine for another.
Yeah, I know.
Movie at that point, because then he would if he signs on again. He knows that he's gonna be Wolverine for another 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready to do with that.
Yeah, and that's too much eating raw chicken and walking out from dusk till dawn.
That's a good description.
Yeah, but I think that the most important thing when it comes to the positives of acquisition of the rights of certain characters, the Fantastic Four and the cosmic Marvel universe will be a lot more rounded and just more fun to me because the first family of Marvel Fantastic Four will not be able to be involved in the main Marvel universe. And Doctor Doom and all that other stuff, it's gonna be more true to the comics maybe because they can have all those rights back and they can not pussyfoot around like how they're gonna explain using this character or that character.
Yeah.
So those are the positives for me. Because certain characters just feel like in limbo of being a well thought out character because they're losing an essential aspect of them because they're those things that they cannot mention are owned by Fox now they can freely use them hopefully. Ooh, Galactic Silver Surfer, oh my god, I'm so excited.
That's why I'm kind of excited. I'm happy that this actually happened and
Yeah,
we get to hopefully
there you go ahead.
No, just like I just kind of wish they bought it earlier because they probably could have. Because I don't remember that Doctor Doom was also part of Infinity War.
Oh, I mean like the Infinity Gauntlet or the actual?
I think it's Infinity Gauntlet. I'm not sure which one it was, but I remember Doctor Doom was a big part of it, and it's just.
I think he wasn't in the Gauntlet one. I'm not 100%. I have to reread that book. He's involved in a lot of cosmic Marvel one way or the other. So.
Yeah, so it's just. I guess they're gonna have to leave him for another phase, or something like that. So it's just cool that they can have Doctor Doom finally.
And he's involved with Doctor Strange because they're both magic users, and they can expand upon the magic in the Marvel universe. And there's so much cool magic stuff in the Marvel universe. So I don't know. There's a lot of goods.
Yes. Yeah, and I just want to see the Fantastic Four do well this time around.
Yeah.
Because the previous Fantastic Four movies aren't that great.
Yeah, I like the first one with Chris Evans and everyone, Jessica Alba, even though I hate Jessica Alba. But,
she's alright to me.
I did enjoy it. She's a really bad actress, so I just have never liked her in anything, and she almost ruined Sin City for me, actually. So.
Oh. I know. I like the first Sin City, but not the second one. It's really bad.
She almost ruins the first one. Her acting is just so bad.
Oh.
But, despite that, I do still like the first Fantastic Four movie. And what little I've seen the second one was fun too, but that's mostly because I just love seeing the Silver Surfer like going around and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah.
Story's lacking. But the one that came out recently was really bad.
Oh yeah, I saw the old Fantastic Fours when I was a kid. So I think I was a teenager, yeah, and I was enjoying them. But when I grew up, when I became an adult and I saw little clips of the old Fantastic Four movies, and it's like, oh god, it's so dated. And the cheesy dancing scene was like throw me off.
Yeah.
With Thing and Fantastic Four, it was like really bad. And then
the only thing that really works is Johnny and Ben.
Yeah, they were the only two good. And I think they were the latest Fantastic Four movie. It wasn't that good either. I mean, like the only thing I liked was Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch, I think.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole movie, but I did see that. I liked him as Torch. I did actually like what's his name as Mr. Fantastic a little bit. But it's one of it's also the problem of making these characters as young as they were. I felt.
Well, they was trying to take it from the Ultimate Universe, because the Ultimate Universe they were actually younger.
Oh really? I haven't seen it yet.
The Ultimate comic books, yeah, the Ultimate Universe comic books.
But that's interesting because they can still keep that actor if they kind of do like a multiverse thing and they do the Secret Wars thing and then they can make the Maker to some degree.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
The
The Maker is awesome. Yeah, I like that. I like the Evil Reed Richards. He's great.
I want to read the whole thing so I can get that content. The concept of it sounds so cool. I mean, it would be another thing where if they introduce a Fantastic Four movie and then hit Doctor Doom, but then they also introduce the Maker at some point, then people are going to be like, oh, they always make the villain just the polar opposite of the main character. But the Maker is just such a really neat antithesis to the main character. I like, much the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, he's another main character. So,
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Disney buys Fox. That's really exciting for Marvel fans and other things like that, but it's also scary because it's a big conglomerate owning
Yeah.
share of the overall market. That's weird, but
And people are afraid they're not gonna make anything with Fox's franchises like what is it, Alien or Predator.
oh well, that's ridiculous. People thought like Disney's gonna.
And I'm like, why would Disney buy Fox if they're not gonna do anything with their properties? It's a business. They're gonna do things with it.
They know that people don't realize that Disney owns Miramax at the time when Miramax
Yeah, they did own Miramax.
killed Bill. I remember when I realized that Disney wasn't just Disney, and that movie companies weren't just that movie company that you know of. That some of them own other smaller movie companies. And I think it was a Conan O'Brien bit where they were making fun of how much blood was in Kill Bill, and they showed like, this is owned by Disney, and I was like, is it? And I looked into it. Disney owns Miramax, and they're not gonna just stifle.
You know what else? No, never. I was gonna say that I found out a few days ago that Disney owns Pulp Fiction because it's a Miramax film too. But that movie was made before it got brought.
People's whole perception of that is that like the neat thing for Disney is that by owning another movie studio is that they get that money. They get the profits now.
Yeah, they just get more money. Why wouldn't a company make more money?
In the end, it becomes a small leg of the larger studio Disney, and they just let Fox do what they want to do, but they will give some creative control so that maybe Fox will be a better run studio, because that's another thing that people don't realize is that Fox has for the last 10 or 15 years been known as the studio that releases shit movies.
Yeah, they have been lately.
Pump them out so that they're the ones that took the movie Taken. Taken was a European-made movie. That if you watch a European movie, a European cut of Taken, you're watching a movie that's more violent, more explicit with the intentions of the villains, and a lot longer movie. Fox buys the rights to that movie, brings it to America, and because they're like, well, Americans are too stupid to understand this, they're too afraid of rape and murder, so we're gonna censor a lot of it, darken a few of these scenes, edit it so it's not as violent, and edit it so that there's certain mentions of certain things are not going to be in it. They did this all the time. I remember when I found out, I realized that Fox was making movies to be easier to digest to an idiotic level and sanitize. Like, people were afraid of Disney sanitizing movies. Fox always sanitizes movies that they buy from other companies and other countries. Because they think that the general audience is too dumb and sensitive to handle what they hope to bring to you in a blockbuster. There's so many movies that could have been better. Like, I remember following the production of several movies around the 2009 that I was reading about them, where Fox was like, well, actually, we're going to release this movie, and they released trailers, and it looks awesome. And then you find out after the movie was released and it was a critical failure that the director was like, well, Fox edited my movie down to nothing, and I didn't really get to make the movie I wanted. I forget the name of the movie, but there's a French director who's also an actor who made, it's like, I forget what it's called, like AE, it's like Titan AE, but not that.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest. I can't help you.
It wasn't an animated movie, it was another movie from like 2009. He was talking about how he made this movie, and he made it how he wanted to. But when it came to the editing stage, Fox noted it to death and edited it themselves without his permission. And it was his dream project, and then it was released, and it was a critical and financial failure.
Yeah.
Because they didn't think the audience could handle or understand what he was trying to do, so they wanted to make it easily digestible. And that's what they do all the time. As much as Disney will, do that too, but they only do that with their larger properties. Anything outside of that, they let the director run wild because they trust that, and it's not going to lose them a lot of money anyway because it doesn't cost as much.
Yeah, and I noticed writers have or directors had issues with the X-Men movies. Like, it said that the Fox always mess with their ideas, and they hated that. It was like I think because I remember Max Landis said that they kind of ruined what it was Fox's fault that Fantastic Four became so bad because what he wanted was different, and Fox was putting their ideas into his movie, and it turned out the movie came out as something that he didn't want, but is what Fox wanted. And
I don't think his script is the one that was ultimately used, but his friend, who was the director of Chronicle that they worked on together, directed it. And that's another thing, is they just kind of hired a director that had no real experience to do this big movie, and then they took it from him when he was being a bit more volatile and stuff, because he was kind of apparently an asshole.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen Max Landis in YouTube, and I don't think his personality is all that nice.
No, it wasn't him. It's Josh Trank is the one that directed Fantastic Four and was fired and then replaced for the reshoots of Fantastic Four. Max Landis he can be a bit of an asshole to a lot of people, but he's actually quite introspective, and his opinions on movies and story is actually pretty good. It just, people don't like to hear the way he says it, and he may not always be right, but he has a good sense of story.
Yeah, I like his Chronicle. I like the Chronicle movie. I did like that one.
And And if you some of his analyses of other movies is actually pretty on point. You may not agree with it because you liked it more than he did, but at the same time, his ideas on structure and whatnot is valid. It's just that he comes off as an asshole about it.
Yeah, and
if anyone who's listening to this now hasn't seen his Death and Return of Superman series or his Wrestling Isn't Wrestling series, those are excellent and a great look into how his mind works on story and how he perceives story and how fun it is to build a character. So anyway, go on.
yeah, I heard Bryan Singer say he had some problems too with Fox. That
Fox is a problem.
they actually do try to put their ideas into people's movies. And I think I think they also did that to Scott Ripley with the Alien movies, like
Really
Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Because I remember there was and at the Alien Covenant didn't do so well. They spoke to Scott Ripley, Ridley, and they asked him why the movie wasn't so great, and he said that one of the reasons is because Fox tried to put the ideas into his movies, and it didn't turn out so well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. I think Disney is gonna tool with Fox Studios as a whole and put different people in charge and whatnot for this and that. But I think that's a good thing because to me, the last few presidents of Fox, their philosophy is make something easy to digest that'll sell easy and make as much money as possible for cheap. The only risk they've taken has been in certain aspects of their business, and I think someone else needed to be in charge. And as much as I don't like the idea of Disney owning so much, I think Disney is a better option for them to be a more creative place to make movies. Deadpool's gonna be fun, everybody. Deadpool's gonna be fun.
yeah, I think Deadpool will be fine. I don't think they're gonna touch Deadpool. I mean, like,
Disney's not stupid.
yeah, that's like the most money-made movie that Fox had. I mean, there wasn't.
It's the highest rated. It's the highest R-rated movie, like moneymaker. It for an R-rated movie to make as much as it did was crazy, and they realized that the popularity of the character and the vulgarity of it helps it. Toning him down will just lose ticket sales, and they know that because they've seen the results.
Yeah. Even though I've seen people bring kids to see Deadpool, I saw it when I was watching it.
I mean, I saw the same thing. That's a whole other issue, but Disney, I don't think is going to ruin Fox like people think it is. I don't think they're going to ruin any of the properties Fox owns, and I think that I think anything involving the Marvel Universe with the X-Men characters and Fantastic Four is going to be interesting to see. That we're not going to know if they ruin until it happens because it's such a unique situation that I'm excited to see where it goes because I'm always interested in how stories and movies and comic books and books and stuff like get settled like this because things like this happen all the time when one company acquires another and takes certain elements and then decides to mold it together. I'm always curious about that. That's why I like and I'm excited for things like Doomsday Clock or why I like the idea of a crossover between like DC and Marvel because it's interesting. It's different.
Yeah, that's what I like about these things too. I agree. And
yeah.
And I think it's just like Disney did with Star Wars. They have a separate division and they just let them do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just the same thing with Fox. Marvel has their own separate division too. I mean, it's just things that will be separate. And Pixar has their own division, to think about it.
Yeah, Pixar's its own company. They acquired Pixar, and Pixar's still Pixar. You can argue that Pixar's doing a lot more sequels lately, but that wasn't an immediate thing after after Disney acquired Pixar fully. That was just something that they started doing because they realized, oh, well, I want to do more stories with these characters. So they,
Yeah, and people wanted that too.
so people, yeah, exactly. People wanted Finding Dory. People want it. Like, I really, really am excited for Incredibles 2.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I've been wanting that more than the other franchises, to be honest.
That's probably my most anticipated movie of this upcoming year is The Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
More than any of the Marvel movies and any of
Oh, well, this to me is just Disney movies. I mean, like the other Pixar movies, like Toy Story, and I didn't really care about Cars and
yeah.
Finding Nemo too. I mean, not it was Finding Dory, but whatever. It was a Finding Nemo
That's
sequel.
pretty good.
I didn't see it yet. I never saw it.
It's actually pretty good. That's the thing too. People think that just because it's a sequel that they're running out of. A sequel can be good. Finding Dory is a good sequel. It's not as good as Finding Nemo, but it's still really good. I'm not a big fan of Finding Nemo because it kind of was played to death for me because my cousins played it all the time. But I do love the storytelling.
I did like the movie too, but it's like played to death like Frozen. It gets a little tiring. I never saw Frozen either.
Yeah, I did. And I liked it, but at the same time, I think it's a little overrated. But that's my thing.
Yeah.
I think Tangled is better.
Oh, I never seen that either.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, Disney's gonna let these movies, these companies work within their own right. They'll give some input, of course, here and there because that's their property. But it's still ultimately free reign for all these companies, and they have more opportunities and more money to finance all these ventures. So I'm excited for it, and it's gonna be cool. Maybe that means the next Star Wars movie, like the Solo movie, or the Star Wars 9, is gonna have the Fox fanfare at the beginning again. That'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, I guess we can lead that into, we both watched Star Wars this weekend, right?
Yeah, we both saw Star Wars, so I guess we could start talking about that. Is that fine? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna start talking about Marvel buying Fox.
Quite a bit.
I mean Disney buying Fox.
Yeah, Disney buying Fox, but it's a big story. There's so much to think about with that. But yeah, I think we can move on to Last Jedi.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So beware of spoilers, I guess.
Quick review. What was your like out of 10?
I would give it like maybe like around 8 or 8.5 or 9, somewhere around there.
I think I'm at about an 8, solid 8. Every once in a while it goes up to an 8.5, but it's pretty solid at 8.
Yeah.
Out of 10.
I just don't like giving things scores. I get so on.
No, I get it, but it's. I think a simple score system is always good to kind of like gauge where you like. Just people like, hey, this just means where I'm at on the scale. Doesn't mean.
Yeah, because my mind always changes with that stuff.
Yeah, that's why I guess I kind of like a out of 5 system. Like for me, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. Because it's a good popcorn flick. It was a lot of fun. I didn't grow up with Star Wars as much as a lot of my friends did, but I've always loved the lore and the world of Star Wars. I've always loved the aesthetics, the music, and everything. It's one of those things that I'm by osmosis a fan of, as more than I am by being actually immersed in the world like a lot of people are. So.
Yeah. I'm a very big fan of Star Wars. I mean, I saw the original trilogy, I saw the prequel trilogy, and I've been enjoying the latest Star Wars movies, and
Right.
I've read a couple of comic books too. I didn't read any of the Dark Horse books. I haven't got to that.
Mm-hmm. Did you read like the original Marvel comic book?
No, I haven't read those either. I mean, I'm reading the current Star Wars by Marvel.
Yeah, I read some of it. It's pretty good. I like some of them.
I've been reading Darth Vader, Star Wars, Dr. Aphra. I've read the I actually like it, yeah. And I've read the I've read the miniseries that they come every couple of months. So I've been enjoying what Marvel's doing now with the Star Wars comic books.
Yeah, I think they're great, especially the artwork. The artwork in all of them has been incredible.
Yeah, they managed to keep the artwork good in all of them.
Yeah.
And I did play a few Star Wars games like Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic, the PC version. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play those. How my friends love those games. Yeah.
And
But you're definitely more, see, like right there, you're more immersed in it than I ever was.
oh,
I've read the novels. So I never played the games. I've read some of the comic books. I've never read the extended universe novels or the original comic books. I've just kind of watched the movies.
yeah, I never read any Dark Horse books. And
I've read some with Wikipedia.
I've watched Clone Wars and Rebels. I've been watching Rebels lately.
I hear good things about my friend.
Yeah, Rebels is great. I like it. I like it more than Clone Wars, even though people think Clone Wars is better than Rebels. But I think the opposite.
Yeah. I think overall it's supposed to be better than Rebels. I think what Rebels started becoming more accepted after Rogue One because they make references to Rogue One.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be right before Rogue One, apparently.
Yeah.
And I think that's where...
See the ship of the main rebels in Rogue One.
Yeah, and I think that this is the final season, and I think they're bridging the gap to Rebels and Rogue One.
That's cool.
It wasn't brought out as a prequel to Rogue One, but later on, like season 3 and 4, is what people started thinking, wow, this is actually a prequel to Rogue One, and it looks that way. Like, we didn't know that it was going to be a prequel until the 3rd season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm pretty well...
Yeah.
I pretty much know more about the universe, I guess.
Yeah. To some degree, yeah. I mean, I will say, my friends back home in Arizona definitely know more than either of us.
Oh.
I remember I had a friend, Frank. I remember once when a bunch of us were in his room because we're not allowed in his room. Their shared apartment when he was on a trip, and I looked at his bookcase, and it was all Star Wars novels. That's my memory of it, but I always remember like all Star Wars, Star Trek and Stargate in there too. But like, I remember like a bunch of Star Wars, and being like, wow, he knows his shit. And it's the same thing with my other friends because they read a lot of the novels, at least the big ones, old comic books, and they read Wikipedia, they researched all this stuff. A lot of my friends are what are known as Mandalorian mercs, which is like they make their own armor in the style of the Mandalorians, and they're deep into that lore. So their opinions on the Last Jedi and the new trilogy in general are very unique to me because it comes from a Star Wars fan-centric mindset as opposed to me who's a Star Wars fan who's a fan because I love movies.
Okay.
Sci-fi.
Alright.
You know?
And this thing, I do enjoy the new Star Wars movies more than the old ones.
Really? That's a unique opinion, honestly.
Yeah, I think Force Awakens and Rogue One and Last Jedi are better than all the Star Wars movies that's been out.
Really? Okay, that is very... I still think the original trilogy holds up a lot better in a lot of ways than the newer stuff. I do think, though, that Rogue One holds its own with the original trilogy a lot better than The Force Awakens. And maybe The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi still is really good to me. I think it's weird because The Force Awakens I love because it's fun. It brings you back to being a kid watching Star Wars again. It expands the universe a lot of ways, and it builds the world better. But it's still hokey. It's a retread of the original trilogy a lot of the ways.
I know a lot of people said there's like New Hope, but I didn't I did see there was like New Hope, but I didn't feel way that 100% because the characters are more developed in
yeah.
in this in Force Awakens. Yeah, they're more developed, and the Empire is more of a threat than before.
Well, I wouldn't say they're more developed because I feel like Rey is still like not a very developed character. Although Daisy Ridley plays her really well.
She did a good job in this one.
But I think Finn and Kylo Ren are the only ones in Force Awakens that have any real development or character. Compared to like the original trilogy, where you get a lot of intrigue out of Han Solo and Ben Kenobi, you follow Luke through his journey, so you get a lot of character development with that. Leia is, interesting, but you kind of get a sense of her immediately. She's used as like as a lot of different things, so she's not as developed until the second and third movies to me. And, everyone gets a lot of time in the Force Awakens. It just feels like only Finn and Kylo really get any kind of real backstory, which is funny because in Last Jedi I feel Finn is kind of put on the back burner this time, and it's more focused on Kylo, Rey, and Luke, which is a really interesting, well done dynamic.
Yeah, and well, Finn was used a lot in this one, I think, but he's
there, if anything, but I don't know.
But he had a whole adventure with Rose, the Asian character.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, but at the same time, I think my problem with it is that as much as he's there, there's not as much like growth or anything to him. He's I don't know, it's hard to explain because he's there a lot in the movie, but I don't...
I know what you mean. There wasn't much story about him.
Yeah, what I get from the adventure between him and Rose was more Rose, and I like Rose a lot now because of that story.
Yeah, I do like Rose a lot. She was an interesting character. I actually did like what they did with her.
Like, you're introduced to her, and you realize that she's wearing the same necklace as that girl that died as the bomber in the beginning of the movie, like earlier in the movie, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be this cheesy thing where like she's related to that person that we didn't care about who died, and then you learn more about her and what she's meaning, and then you see how much of a go-getter she is, because she's just someone who cleans the pipes. I think is what she said.
Yeah, she says she's just some person that cleans the pipes, right?
Yeah, and then she stuns Finn because like, I'm not letting any deserters go up through here because that's my job. I'm here to watch that. And she's like, no, I'm a no nonsense person. And then Finn convinces her like, hey, I'm trying to help, and she's like, well, I can solve this. And she has a solution and a plan, because she understands things more, and she's smarter than you thought originally. And now it's cool because you can believe that she's bigger than what she's presented as at birth, because she's just a smart person, and she's given this opportunity, and she's she's very interesting because you get a sense of her, who she is, as you go along. New little things about her, and she's interesting. She's funny. And her relationship with Finn is neat. But that's all that Finn gets in this movie. Is kind of a relationship arc, but no real character arc, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know why they did. I don't know if you noticed they sneaked the kiss in there for like no reason, and like
that was a bit weird. Yeah,
I wasn't expecting them to be in love. I was just expecting it as like a companionship.
See, I can get this sense of love because she has a sense of reverence about him when you first see her realize that it's Finn.
Oh, but I thought that was like a fan thing, like.
Yeah, but a fan thing, it is true that it doesn't feel like it's a relationship, it's a love thing, because you feel like Finn and Rey are supposed to be together, but then it turns into the way it is.
Yeah, it's like
her last words before everything happens, where you think she's dead, are fine, and it can end with her just passing out. But the kiss kind of is like, that was unnecessary. But we'll see how that plays out. But I didn't think that part was necessary. Everything else was cool, and she's an awesome character. I loved her. She was awesome.
Yeah, Rose is awesome. I actually like that character. And I did like that she saved Finn's life. I mean, Finn was like wondering, why did you do that?
Yeah, it's still weird to me, but at the same time I get it, because like she doesn't want him to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
For a hopeless cause. Like he's being stupid because he thinks he can do it, but ultimately he can't. He's wasting his life, and she can see that.
Yeah, I'm glad she actually took the initiative to save his life, and
because there's no guarantee he was going to do it.
Yeah, it looked like it was a sacrifice.
Yeah. And a wasted sacrifice is nothing. So, but yeah, she was a better part of his whole arc, and that's sad because he had a great arc in the first one, I felt. And the most they do with him is that he gets to fight Phasma, and she was also wasted too. So.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with Phasma because I've liked the 4-issue miniseries with Phasma by Marvel.
That was good,
it was great. They did flesh her out that the first Force Awakens didn't do. We got to know more about her and her past, and they don't show any of that. They don't show any of that in the movies. It just kind of disappoints me because then everybody's gonna be like, it's a whole nother Boba Fett where Boba Fett is very well developed in comic books, but he's not developed in movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And she's had 2 movies now where she has that.
Yeah,
so might be like Boba Fett too, but at the same time, it's just like you show her as a cool badass, but then you just kind of throw her away. It's just weird to me. I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's just they didn't have anything to do with her, but they don't want to waste how cool she looks. I will say she was more fierce in this one than she was in the first one.
Yeah, she actually had a fight. I love that fighting scene with Finn.
Generally more like there's more to her performance that comes out, like the ferocity and the overall like how she just despises Finn for being a deserter. I don't know what it reminds me of something of like a character whose whole mission is just to find this person that deserted the rest of them, and because that's the worst crime, if that makes sense. I like that. But I thought she was gonna live, and maybe she did live because I thought.
Yeah, they left it vague because it could be like, I don't know. I'm getting reminded of freaking Boba Fett again with the quicksand, and you find out he didn't die from that. But
yeah, right.
It seems like they did the same thing with Phasma. They just threw her in the fire.
She's in the third one, and then she ended up surviving. And they just do the same shit again with her. I will be so mad. I don't care how good the rest of the movie, but that will make me more mad.
It's like Disney, just make a solo movie if you're gonna get to that point.
Yeah, just do that.
Like, make a Captain Phasma movie about her past, and just do it like that.
You like the design of the character. You love the character.
And it's a great actress too. It's like, why not use her abilities? Her acting.
Yeah, she's doing great. And like I said, it's a body language kind of role that can be unforgiving to a lot of people, but she does it well because she's intimidating. She's intimidating at first until she's easily swatted away. Although her fight scene in The Last Jedi was a lot better than the first one, where she actually feels like a threat.
Yeah, I know. They threw her in the dumpster in Force Awakens, and I was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, it was like, come on. This one is a lot better. I liked it a lot more. So if they bring her back, I hope they give her something to do, because that was really annoying. That was one of my few huge annoyances with The Last Jedi. But I feel like that's just because of what they had to work with her character from the last movie, and then everyone else's art. But I feel like they was introduced her a lot sooner.
I did like the 4-issue miniseries because they show that she's actually has a good side of herself, and
right. Yeah. Yes. We have the collected editions at my LCS, so I can pick that up and I come in and just read it, because I would like to read that.
Yeah, the Captain Phasma miniseries is pretty awesome. I mean, you get to know about her past, who she is, and she does have some conflicting things inside of her. Like the reason why she joined the Empire is because her race was always like treated like shit, and the Empire was the only ones that actually I guess use them in a way where they feel honored. And she decided to join the Empire because she was a slave, and I don't know, I guess the Empire saved her from that. So
right, so she sees it as like a good as more than an evil.
Yeah, something like that. And I thought that was pretty interesting because there's one thing I don't like about the movies, that they make that the Empire is like totally evil, but when you read the comic books or I guess novels, you don't see that, or the video games, you don't see that they're totally evil. They're just, I don't know how to describe it, but
well, it's like any kind of huge empire that is led by an evil person. The message may be evil, but there's still a lot of good things happening for the people under that rule. That you can see why they fall behind it, because it benefits them from a previous bad life.
Yeah.
And they don't have any empathy for the people that are now being murdered and killed. But even then, you don't know, because some people don't like that, but they're still in that world that they have to live with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a better life than otherwise, but they don't know that either. Like the Empire originally is a metaphor for the Nazi regime, and it's the same thing. Like, as much as we see Nazis as this evil thing, which it mostly was,
mm-hmm.
plenty of people who lived under that regime that saw the good in it, even though it was crazy to think that, or didn't, because they didn't know about the horrible things. They just knew about the good things for them.
Yeah.
It was better than before. And then there's the whole pride thing, and it's a lot of things. It's a complicated issue.
Yeah, it is a complicated issue. I've heard about things about it, and
yeah, and it's interesting. It's just the movies are just like that. They're trying to simplify, the conflict by not, because there's no reason really to show all these like good people that are also in the Empire, or the people that you think of as villains are just purely evil.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is one of the most conflicted characters in the entire series. And it's interesting when you go into that world, because he's not just this evil badass. He's a former good guy who sees that going just the pure Jedi way is not the way. And
well, Palpatine did lie to him, saying that
oh yeah, there's a lot of lies, of course, yeah. But he's conflicted throughout, because he believes in the Empire's message and Palpatine's message, but he doesn't, because there's things that he doesn't agree with. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, and I noticed Kylo Ren is also conflicted with himself, like Darth Vader, in Last Jedi.
Well, that's what I thought was interesting with Kylo. There's a lot of really interesting things with how he's conflicted, I found, especially because of the big reveal near the end.
Yeah, it's just I liked what they did with Kylo Ren, because there's like a dark not dark. Like this. Luke Skywalker was afraid of his power. Like he saw very strong power in him, and they did show that in the movie, which is pretty interesting. I didn't expect him to kill Snoke like that. That was really unexpected.
Yeah, he got stoked really good, and it was actually like, that was a really cool moment for me. And it was also like, I read a comment that showed that a lot of the character arcs for people, or character moments, big character moments, are based off of a character's failures.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big thing with Snoke too, is that like he was focused on the wrong aspects of Kylo's ability and thought process, and wanting to kill Rey, because he thought he wanted to kill Rey, but he actually wanted to kill Snoke. Because when you see the connection between Rey and Kylo basically says that, like, he thinks it all should burn. It's all meaningless. I don't know if like that's what I remember at least. Like he sees it all as a bad thing in that we need to start from scratch. I don't know if that's a nihilistic view, anarchist view, or whatever, but he wants to rebuild from scratch.
And there's another
destroying the new order.
There's another interesting thing I noticed that Rey and Kylo Ren had like a brother-sister relationship growing in there until he messes it up.
Well, yeah. Well, some people see it as a brother-sister relationship. Some people are seeing it as like a romantic thing.
Oh, I saw it because the thing is, I know that these new Star Wars movies are somewhat based on the Dark Horse comic books, where they just changed how it's like Luke Skywalker and he is Ben Skywalker, and he had a daughter that, I mean, Ben goes to the dark side, where I forgot what the daughter's name is. It's not Rey, but Luke Skywalker's daughter goes to the light side, and she has to fight her own brother. And I think they borrowing some of that into the new movies.
Alright, I can believe that. That makes sense.
So they're not brothers and sisters here, I think, but I think they're using their brother-sister relationship and from the comic books to the movies. To some extent. So yeah, that's what I saw. That's what I don't know. I didn't see romantic relationship.
I wasn't sure about romantic, but it was more like an energy that was very familiar as a romantic or sexual energy, but that could have just been my own stupid brain.
Well, you didn't know about that information, so it's okay, I think.
It's true. I mean, it's how I perceived it, but that's just how they built it in my head. But it is interesting. I like the relationship between the three characters. To me, it's this. The Last Jedi is a story between Luke and Kylo, or Ben. Ben.
Solo. He has Ben Solo. It's just in the
Rey is kind of the middleman.
It's just weird in the Dark Horse comic books. Ben is actually Skywalker's son in the comic books, but then in here they change it that it's Han Solo's son.
Yeah, it makes sense how they wanted to go with it, but I mean, I don't know. It could have been so many things. But either way, I think ultimately it's a story between Luke and Ben, with Rey as a middleman, and I like that story line a lot. It builds up nicely, especially when it leads into the ultimate fight when Luke and Kylo face off. Especially because of how badass Luke comes across and how Ben is tricked by Luke so easily because of his anger towards Luke and what Luke almost did to him and how he sees it. Because as we see from Luke's storytelling, the whole story is that Luke was going to kill Ben because he saw this very great power that he didn't want to unleash onto the world, but he didn't do it. But Ben didn't see himself, and he saw him with a lightsaber in his hand about to kill him, and tried to kill him back.
Yeah.
He said it was fight against him, and then it starts his whole journey to the dark side.
Yeah.
He gets into the dark side from that.
And
he's angry at Luke, and then it builds him to Luke tricking him in a great.
Yeah, that was a great way to trick him, and I do like the ratio between Luke and Ben. I wish we could see more. I didn't want Luke Skywalker to get killed off. I kind of wanted to see more of their relationship.
Yeah, I mean, they could still bring them back, as a Force Ghost or something. We'll see how it goes. There's a couple of my friends that said the Last Jedi opens up a lot of neat story possibilities that aren't limiting itself too much compared to situations. I feel like it has more plot points that we can build off of, especially because now instead of Snoke being the puppet master villain, much like Palpatine was in the original trilogy, we have Kylo Ren as the main villain going into the third movie of this trilogy.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't expect in this movie, which was happening a lot. Like, a lot of twists and turns. It's like, it just kept exciting me. Like, what the hell is going on?
There's so many moments where I'm just thinking it's going to go one way or the other. I'm expecting one character to become a bad person and another character to become a good person, and this person, that person. I'm expecting so many double crosses and they don't happen, and it happened in a way I did not think it could. I mean, I kind of thought that ultimately Kylo was just going to be the bad guy one way or the other, but I didn't think he was going to kill Snoke. I didn't think he was going to take over the First Order.
Yeah, that fighting scene with him and Rey was just awesome.
Oh yeah, it showed him, and it showed how competent a fighter he actually is. Because in the Force Awakens, it shows him not being a competent fighter, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, and they did a better fight here.
Yeah, and I get why they did that in the Force Awakens, but I feel like they could have shown more opportunities of how he's a competent fighter, a competent leader, and a competent, like, just general, to be reckoned with. But they don't show that, and they went with more showing that he's, like, weaker than you think because he's trying to be something he's not. And that, as much as it's an interesting character trait to him, it still lessens his impact.
Mm-hmm.
Why he's so regarded by everyone underneath him.
And are you surprised they didn't find a way to kill off for instance, General Leia?
Yeah, I was surprised because there were several points where I thought she was gonna die, and I feel like
they kept doing that. Like, we thought she was gonna die in space, and she didn't die there. We thought she was gonna die in a coma, but she didn't die there either. So it's like
she's just gonna die. Like, I feel like they could have just let her die in the coma.
Yeah, they could have done that, but now they didn't. I read articles where they said Rian Johnson didn't want to tamper with the movie. He just wants to leave it alone. And
yeah, but now they're gonna do a thing in the third movie where it's gonna be like, oh, she's dead. Yeah,
they're gonna have to do something in the third movie. Because I did read that Kathleen Kennedy said that that Leia's not gonna be in the third movie. So it's like they had a plan that she was gonna be in the third movie. The movie's gonna be focused on her, but now that thing is untangled because they don't know what to do because Carrie Fisher passed away. They don't know what to. Now they have to scrap that whole thing and think of something else.
Yeah. It's one of those things where this trilogy of movies has a lot of problems with it because of like so many unexpected things and also just expected things that they didn't, think about planning for.
Mm-hmm.
I get not wanting to tamper too much with Leia's arc in it, but I feel like she could have done better this way. I can get it because, like, one, her first almost death made sense, but at the same time they wanted to show that she's more capable than just dying like that. And they didn't want to kill her in a coma because they could have easily just killed her in a coma because they just could edit it and reshoot the rest of the movie so that it's different slightly. But it was probably too expensive, and also, like, killing her off in a coma is kind of like a shit move to do in a way. But they could have, and especially without reshooting her, because anything they could have done to kill her in the coma, story-wise, it makes sense for what they want to, how they want to portray Leia and pay respect to her, would still require reshoots.
Yeah, that's why they didn't want to do that.
Anything to reshoot, they can't reshoot anything at that point, so they kind of have to stick to it and deal with it in the third movie, however they have to deal with it. I'm very curious how that's going to go. But that's another. But all I will say, another character underutilized in the Last Jedi was Leia. I felt like she was kind of just there.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
She should have died because it made more sense for her to sacrifice herself on the ship. To me, it made more sense that she could have just died at some point because this and that. She could have. She was just there because she was there to dress down Poe,
mm-hmm.
and and that's it. And then she comes back, and then all is good. And she's the one that's like, I had a plan all along. I'm smarter than all of you. Deal with it. And I like that because that's a cool aspect of her character is that she's always smarter than everyone else thinks she is. But at the same time, it just.
And I noticed. I did like the space part because it shows how powerful she is with the Force, but she just didn't become a Jedi. She didn't want to become a Jedi. She just wanted to, I guess, help the people.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true. It shows like she has more power than we ever thought she did, really.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. It just.
And I did like that she has her leadership skills in the movie, but they didn't show too much of it. They show a little bit of it.
She's better utilized in the first movie, even though that's not the one where she's not in it a lot. But
yeah.
You see what she means a lot more because she's the one saying the inspirational speeches. She's the one being in front of everyone, telling them like, "This is what we need to do." In the second one, she's in a coma, so other people are using her words, like what's her name, played by Laura Dern. She's like kind of like a surrogate for Leia, and I feel like she's awkward in the role because it's not Leia. She doesn't have the same gravitas that Leia has because she's not Leia.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it just felt like so many ways they could have just killed Leia off, and they would have probably been a better.
Yeah, thing. And did you like what they did with Poe in this movie, Poe Dameron?
I did. He got a lot more to do. He got a lot more character development.
Yeah, he actually had character development, which was interesting.
Yeah, because you get to see who he is, the best and worst qualities of him. That's what a friend actually pointed out to me, is that like he noticed this more, is that you kind of see like, you know, he's a very capable, smart leader. Like
but he just always rushes in and just do what he wants.
He rushes in. He's headstrong. He's just as flawed as everyone else, but in ways that can be really destructive, self-destructive, and overall destructive for the rebellion. And I like that because in the first movie he's just like badass fighter pilot, and then he disappears for most of the movie and comes back and he's a badass fighter pilot again.
Yeah. I don't know if you read the comic books, but I've been reading them, and I see the same personality in the comic books, and in the movie. They have the same personality, and I was kind of excited seeing that. I was really excited. It's good, the comic books. That's another one I forgot to mention. I didn't mention it until now. But I do like the Poe Dameron series. It's really good.
I do want to read that. I like Charles Soule's work a lot, and I've only read just Lando and Chewbacca.
Oh wow, I read those two. Those are good, but there's a lot more.
And I should read more. It's just that I was taking on, and when I first started reading comics, I was taking on too many titles. And
I know what you mean. It could be expensive. Yeah, so I don't blame you.
I started, like, getting into the Star Wars stuff. I was like, you know what? That's too much. I'll wait for these. So I'm in that boat right now. So I'll probably go back and buy all the trades for all the current Star Wars comics, because I'm more intrigued now.
All right, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, well, the Poe Dameron in the second Spider-Gwen in particular. Also, the Dr. Aphra series, because a lot of people say that's a really good book.
Yeah, it's a really good book. I want to see her in movies eventually.
Yeah, we'll see. That'll be interesting. I'm curious about that myself, because she's becoming quite the fan favorite, and her evil Wookiee, whatever that is.
I think his name is Coruscant, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's one of those weird Star Wars names that is difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, they have a weird name. There's a lot of moments in the movie where I'm just like, what did they say? The name of the casino planet, I forget what it is, Kanta something, Kanta 2, or that was really funny.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of people have problems with the humor in this one, but I liked it. I enjoyed it, because if people felt like it was... People said that was forced, but I don't think so. I actually liked it. It's subtle humor to me.
The only humor scene I didn't really like that much was the General Hux and Poe Dameron on the speaker thing.
Oh, that one was kind of weird.
That felt forced because that's a joke that you use in modern times because we have speakerphones and answer machines, and it's just. I mean, I can see that they can do the same joke in that world, but it doesn't feel Star Warsy.
And
It brings you back to our society instead of theirs.
Oh, but it also did like the porgs, the birds thing, and
I love the porgs. My girlfriend and I love the porgs.
it's just the scene with Chewbacca just hits them because he's trying to like drive the plane, or this was the scene where
was so fun.
huh?
The puppetry of it that worked, like in which scene were you talking about?
I was thinking about the scene where Chewbacca was eating one of the porgs and the other porgs are crying, like.
Yeah, that was hilarious. It was so adorable and sad in so many ways. My girlfriend looked at me because she loves cute animals and she's been in love with the porgs. They first showed up in that one trailer because she loves cute things like that. And especially because we own guinea pigs and they're like a guinea pig with wings. It's how they look like.
Yeah, that's what it does look like to me. I didn't think of that. I just thought it was birds.
Like guinea pigs as birds. And we have guinea pigs, and she's had guinea pigs for years, and she loves those things. And it's so cute. And the puppetry of it all worked well when they had live action ones. Like in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and there's several around Chewie.
Yeah, that's what I like that part.
It reminds me of like stuff from like Labyrinth. And stuff when there's random, like, small creatures everywhere that are just kind of shaking and screaming for whatever reason. It just reminds me of, like, classic Jim Henson puppetry, and I loved it.
I just hope I see them again in the next Star Wars movie, just for humor.
I think
just for the humor.
Be in the next one as, like, Chewie's sidekick. I will say, my friends have said this a lot. My one friend, Sean, in particular, has said that, like, the new Star Wars movies have given Chewie a lot more character than they had in ever before.
I've noticed that. I'm actually wearing a Chewie shirt now, but yeah, I really do like what they did with Chewbacca in the movie.
Yeah,
and they did a lot more.
He's funny. He's not just like a mindless Wookiee, because like I feel like in the original trilogy he's just kind of brute force with some humor between him and Han. But now that Han's gone, he's his own person, and you kind of get to see how he's kind of. It plays off of the mini-series with Chewbacca, where he's kind of just, when he's by himself, he just likes to be left alone and does his thing, and reluctantly joins in or whatever, because he has a sense of good, and he wants to help. But if he doesn't have to, he'd rather just kind of hang out and be alone and live his life. And I like that about him in the new series.
Yeah, he's actually he gets to be his own man.
Yeah,
I like that.
And I think I read on Reddit, or maybe one of my friends said it, but like when you look at how he pilots the Falcon, he might have been better than Han this whole time at flying the Falcon. It just, it's Han's ship, so Han keeps it, But I mean, the Falcon's flown better than it ever has, probably. But that's just, Chewie's been there the whole time, and he's trying to pilot it like his best friend, so he's doing a great job of it. And I love seeing him with the porgs and everything. They're cute. I loved all the new creatures. I love the priest ladies taking care of the island. I love the monster with the boobs that.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. As like and Luke Skywalker just gets the milk from there, and it's just like.
Yeah, he makes that weird face when he drinks it. Like, yeah, I drank that. I like that. I like the way he fished. That was weird, but I liked it.
And I did like when Rey knocked the rock down to those. I guess they was carrying I think they had a carriage, but.
Oh yeah. When she slices the one rock with the lightsaber.
And it falls off.
Wheelbarrow, whatever. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Because I was thinking now they really hate her, because remember she said that they didn't like her very much, and it's like they do now.
I loved a lot of the creatures, but that's what I like about Star Wars. I like the world building. I like the new creatures. I don't care if they make sense to reality. I don't care if they make sense to what you think Star Wars universe creatures should look like. I think.
Well, it's his own universe. It's not. It's a. I guess it could parallel our world, but not exactly 100%.
Yeah, I love the Diamond Dogs, or I like to call them the Bowies, because of the David Bowie album Diamond Dogs, and that's what people call them, the Sand Dogs. But I like the Bowies a lot. Those are cool.
What, the crystal dogs that were in the end, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those were really beautiful creatures. I mean,
they looked nice.
Use other than looking pretty, and like kind of showing like, oh, I can hear them. Oh, they went this way.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. That was its own thing, but outside of that, they're not really useful. But they were really cool looking. But I love that with creature design. I like Force Awakens for the same thing. A lot of cool creatures. When I was a kid, I loved the things like Watto and those weird, people at the beginning of Phantom Menace that they have to meet with, those ambassadors or whatever. The frog faces. I like that. I like all that stuff.
Okay.
My shit when it comes to Star Wars stuff is always production design. Like the characters, the costumes, the way the worlds look, the speeders, the vehicles. I love all that stuff. That's my favorite part of all stuff.
Yeah. Maybe Marvel will look something like that eventually too, when they go more cosmic.
Yeah, that would be cool too. I would like more unique stuff. That's what I loved about Ragnarok. Actually, was just the world of what was it? Sakaar?
Yeah, the Sakaar.
Sakaar looked awesome. I love the production design of that. The colors and everything. It was very Jack Kirby and stuff, and it had some like even Steve Ditko elements to it, and I love that. Love that stuff.
I know what you mean.
Creatures. I want more creatures. I want more weird looking things. Walking around. Yeah. I love weird looking creatures in movies. I'm a big fan of creature design.
Yeah, I noticed this is not like a movie or anything, but I know Avatar and Legend of Korra have that too. I don't know if you heard those cartoons or you seen.
I've heard of them.
They have a lot of weird looking animal creatures, and it's interesting seeing those in those cartoons. But yeah.
I've seen some of it. And I have been meaning to watch those eventually.
Yeah, you should check them out someday. So you want to head to the comic books right now?
Sure. I mean, I know this was also kind of a slow week for both of us in a lot of ways. I mean, so we're going to go into comic books now?
Yeah, the comic books.
You have a lot more to talk about than I do because you read some more, like, a lot bigger stuff than I did this week.
I read Batman Annual #2, and I thought I did enjoy that a lot. I mean, I read that I like the relationship between Catwoman and Batman a lot in there. It was pretty well detailed there.
Yeah, I liked it because it was because you're currently in the arc where they're in that middle of their kind of engagement sort of thing where they're coming together, bridging their worlds together. And the annual shows their first meeting.
Yeah, when they first met, but it didn't feel like it was in their New 52. It felt like it was something off story. It was kind of weird.
Well, I mean, it's kind of how it goes because this whole rebirth thing has become this more than just the New 52 because they've kind of done away with that.
Yeah, I noticed they're mixing the pre-52 with the New 52, and it gets a little confusing at times, but
I mean, that's comic books for you.
I did enjoy the Batman Annual #2. Yeah, it was pretty good.
That was great. I love that book. The artwork by Lee Weeks.
Yeah, the artwork was good too.
I forget who did the second half, but I like the artwork in that.
And it was a really fun issue. I did like it. I also read Moon Knight #189, the second Moon Knight's.
The second issue by Matt Stevens and Jason Burrows, yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty interesting. Moon Knight was actually in this issue, which I did like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually forgetting what happened there.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is like he's coming across this like villain with a certain power to influence people with like kind of nihilism, I guess, and serving their life force, if I remember correctly. And then I was more focused on like Moon Knight and the new Raw character.
Yeah, I saw some Raw in there. It was pretty interesting.
It was really cool. Yeah. I feel like it was more of just a book to kind of keep it going, but I'm excited to see where it goes because it's just interesting new character, and I'm enjoying the artwork quite a bit.
And there's been a refresher where Moon Knight's been up to. Like he's been using the Stephen Grant personality a bit more now. Mm-hmm. He's become a celebrity, which I thought that was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. And he switches his personalities, like when he's Moon Knight, he's Mark Spector. Mm-hmm. I thought that was pretty interesting that he's actually using all his personalities. But there's only one he's not using. Is that taxi driver one? I forgot.
Yeah, the very violent one.
Yeah, he said that he's afraid to touch that personality again. I noticed. I thought that was pretty interesting. I did like that.
Yeah, I like a lot of it. It's a series that I'm enjoying a lot, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I still don't know a lot about the Moon Knight character, and I need to read more. I've only really read the Warren Ellis series.
Oh.
And I've read a few issues of the Jeff Lemire one.
Well, I started reading Moon Knight when Brian Michael Bendis was writing it. That's the first series I read of Moon Knight. It was good. I just didn't like that he was seeing Wolverine, Captain America, and Spider-Man. That was kind of weird.
Right. I've heard that Moon Knight's one of those characters like Daredevil where he's rarely had a bad series because he's one where a lot of up and comers, they give him that character to play around with because there's a lot to play around with for them having to deal with too much other stuff.
Yeah, and they also did Old Man Logan, number 31. It was pretty interesting. It's with him. He goes to see Silver Samurai's son. Uh-huh. There's a gang war going on there, and he fights with them, and so there's suddenly a new it's called Scarlet Samurai, and she comes up at the end, so I don't know much about her, so I guess we'll see what happens with that in the next issue.
Yeah, I saw the cover for the next one, I think, that involves that.
Yeah, she's. I don't know who it is either. They didn't reveal it. They just show her killing the Silver Samurai's son. I mean, I forgot what's his name, but he's been Silver Samurai for quite a while because they killed the original one. Mm-hmm. So he took over the mantle. He's been having the mantle for a year and a half or almost. I don't know how long, but. Mm-hmm. He's been having the mantle for a while, and Scarlet Samurai just killed him. So It's just kind of interesting how that happened at the end. So I'm wondering who that character is. I guess we'll find out in the next issue. And I also did Spider-Gwen number 26, and. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I think this is my favorite one because you see Gwen with the Venom symbiote, and it's very, very
Gwen, and I saw the cover for that.
Yeah, because she's dealing with some conflict issues because she's mad that Matt Murdock is Kingpin in her universe, and he kind of he put her father in jail, and he got beat up in jail, and so now he's in the hospital, and Spider-Gwen got the Venom symbiote, and she's been wanting revenge, but she's also been hesitant because she doesn't like to kill, and she's been fighting with the symbiote, and it's kind of interesting seeing that she's conflicting with herself, and I like seeing that in the character. And I also see that everybody that knows Spider-Woman, and they're figuring out that some of the people that are close to Gwen are figuring out that she's Spider-Woman, because she's been missing. She hasn't been Gwen Stacy for quite a while, since she was the Venom symbiote. And they're trying to find her, and they see that Spider-Gwen looks different, and she has a Venom symbiote, so they're putting the two together, like her friends, the rock band, the Mary Janes, they're figuring it out. And Uncle Ben and Aunt May are figuring it out too. They're both trying to look for Gwen Stacy, and they're thinking that she's Spider-Woman. She never told them, but they say, hey, she's missing, and Spider-Woman's acting weird. She has a Venom symbiote. She's not being herself. So they think that that's her, and it's kind of interesting that they're figuring that out by themselves. And it's like, it's different. I mean, like, usually superheroes usually tell the identities to people they're close to. And here, they're actually figuring it out themselves. They're not having Gwen tell them that she's Spider-Woman. So it's pretty interesting. I really like this issue. It's pretty interesting, and I'm hoping to see what happens next. And I also read what is it? Doctor Strange, number 300.
You told me about that. That was interesting.
Number 382, I think. And I thought it was alright. I didn't like it too much, but I'm interested in what they're gonna have with it's a spoiler if no one read it, but it's Sentry, and I'm interested.
Sentry's returning.
I'm interested in what they're gonna do with Sentry, and apparently Doctor Strange cured him from the Age of Apocalypse and the Void in personality. So it's just kind of weird how they did that, and I'm just interested in what they're gonna do with him next.
Right.
Because he's using it. He's calling Sentry to, I don't know, stop Loki from being the Sorcerer Supreme. Because for some reason Loki's Sorcerer Supreme now, and he's doing things that Doctor Strange doesn't like. So they don't explain how Loki got the Sorcerer Supreme title, which that's what bothers me about the series. They haven't explained it yet. So I'll see what happens as the issues go on. And what is it, Jean Grey? I also read Jean Grey number 10.
Yeah. And that as well. I mean, I told you about the initial spoiler, I think.
Yeah, it's another spoiler. I just didn't know that Jean Grey was gonna die like that. That shocked me. The young Jean Grey.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
I'm just kind of confused because X-Men Blue is at a different story point. I don't know if that story takes place after or before. And
yeah, we're gonna see it, guys. It's one of those weird time things with continuity that a lot of comics, when you have one character showing up in multiple titles, happens. And I'm curious where that's gonna go.
Yeah, because in X-Men Blue, she's with the young X-Men, and I mean, like, what is it, Archangel, Cyclops, Beast, and Iceman, and they travel through time because Magneto told them that he's been having his time machine to take them back to the original timeline, and they were gonna do it, and it took them to the wrong timeline. It took them to the X-Men 2099, and I don't know what's that gonna lead to. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna go back to the original timeline.
Yeah, it's all interesting, like, little things like that. But I'm not too familiar with what's going on anyway, but when I read that, I was intrigued by what the future of all the X-Men titles and young Jean Grey are going to be.
Yeah, I was really surprised, and the thing is, like, it says in the end of the Jean Grey issue, in the end, it says coming next is Phoenix Resurrection 1 through 5, and then the finale of Jean Grey number 11.
Yes, already.
Yeah, so I'm like, so I guess I had to read the first 5 issues of Phoenix Resurrection and then read the last issue of Jean Grey to find the whole story. And I don't know, but I'm kind of confused because I read the solicits for January, the last issue of Jean Grey, and it kind of describes the issue I just read, and it doesn't make any sense. But
I think that was one of those things they kind of try to like hide whatever's going to happen. They just kind of.
Yeah, I think they just described the previous issue, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it happened. I've seen it happen every once in a while.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there? I don't know what they're gonna do with that, and I'm just surprised they actually killed the young Jean Grey. I don't know. I'm thinking that she fused with the Phoenix Force, but I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw the panel. I just felt like that's what they're going for, but I'm not sure because they're really selling it as she's dead. So I guess we'll see. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I mean, for me, especially because I'm not currently reading any of those titles, I don't know what's going on. Outside of that, it's especially surprising.
Yeah, I'll just keep reading and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much it for me. Is there anything for you?
I mean, I read a couple of the same things you did, like the Batman Annual and whatnot. Today I was reading up pretty much my previous week's stuff. I read the new Mr. Miracle, which was excellent. That's between this issue and the last issue are my two favorites of the series so far. This one, it goes into the relationship between Scott Free and Big Barda. It was really nice, and their work and panel work was really good. I loved their dynamic and how they explore it from their original history and in the context of whatever the story that's unfolding is happening. Because there's a lot of interesting little things where they're both on very different wavelengths, it felt. So I'm curious to see where that goes. I read the last issue of the miniseries Bug, The Adventures of Forager from Young Animal by the Allreds, which is really good. I'm still confused by it because
I didn't like that series. I tried it and it's like so confusing for me. I don't know.
It's really out of all over the place, but it's to me I like it because it just harkens back to old comics, especially the original kind of New Gods, Fourth World stuff by Jack Kirby, which I just bought the omnibus for, and I was looking to flip through it, and a lot of the same kind of stuff. It's very heavy, and I do need to reread it.
Oh, what, you bought the New Gods omnibus or something?
The Fourth World one, the big, huge.
Oh, it actually came out? Because I remember in the comic books club I go to, they were talking about that.
Yeah, it came out last week. And I got that, and it's beautiful.
I haven't even checked it out or see what it is.
Yeah. What else did I read? You know what? A good number one that I liked this week, from Boom Studios writer Matt Loveness. I forget the artist's name, but he pulls it out of the park in this good. His first issue of a series called Judas by Matt Loveness. That was really good. I was very surprised, but I'm always interested in taking biblical characters and expanding upon them and making more out of what little we know about them and giving them more motivation and story than previously was used before. This one in particular, because it's kind of the redemption of, like, not the redemption, it's that concept of, if you know the character Judas Iscariot and how he's like one of the apostles, but like,
yeah, I know who he is. I read about Judas. Yeah.
But when you think about that concept, he's the one that from the very beginning Jesus knew was going to betray him. And that's
Oh.
kind of fucked up. That you follow around with someone and you know he's gonna betray you, and he's supposed to fill this arc in your story that you know sends him straight to the depths of hell for his sin, and you know he will always be seen by everyone else who reads this story as one of the huge villains. But he was your friend and apostle, and you knew this from the beginning. But he did not, and it deals with that kind of struggle, inner struggle with Judas as he reaches hell, and what this means for him moving forward in hell. And it was a really well done first issue. The artwork's really good, akin to kind of like old, old, what do you call it? Kind of stone cut from old, what do you call it? Middle Ages and stuff like that. It's really, really good stuff. I love the artwork. The story was a good start to an interesting character arc for this character, and I highly recommend it. I think I'm going to try to follow it month to month, but we'll see because of my budget, but I would like to if I can. I already like the writer's previous work on Nova, which he did the most recent Nova series, which I loved as well, so that's definitely like my recommendation of the week.
Okay. Is there anything else?
I also really enjoyed. I read Harrow County this week. I really liked that. It's one of my favorites every week. I also loved Kid Lobotomy is really good right now. If you haven't read that yet, from IDW.
What is it?
Peter Milligan.
Kid Lobotomy, you said?
Yeah, Kid Lobotomy. It's
oh no, I never read that. No.
IDW has been working with, I think her name is Shelley Bond, who is a fairly well-known editor of comics, and I think she used to work for Vertigo. I'm pretty sure she's like a famous from working at Vertigo. But it's her kind of new, sort of like Young Animalists to DC. It's kind of their own thing with IDW called the Black Crown series.
I've heard of that.
The first of that.
I haven't read it yet, though.
The Black Crown Quarterly was actually a really good read. It's kind of like a magazine with little mini comic stories and articles about the writers who are writing these books. But Kid Lobotomy is by Peter Milligan, and he's one of the famous writers, along with Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, and others who were part of that group of people that started the English invasion in comic books in the early 90s.
Oh, that's what... I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's in that same realm with everyone else, but he's not as well known compared to everyone else. But he wrote a lot of stuff that is well regarded, along with Steve Dillon. But he, like I said, he's a bit more forgotten. But he did Shade the Changing Man. He did some stuff on Animal Man. I think some other characters I can't remember right now. But he did a lot of like his own stuff that's really out there in punk, and it's very punk rock. And Kid Lobotomy is just it's a weird kind of story about a guy who's the lead singer of a famous punk band who ends up inheriting this hotel of madness from his family, and his sister, he has a weird relationship with his sister that's pretty incestuous, and where one of his friends / employees is a shapeshifter who he has a relationship with, but he wants her to take the form of his sister a lot of the time and everything. But it has elements of Kafka and other things like that. It's really weird story, great artwork. I'm enjoying it. I probably will like it better when I read it as a full series, but it's one I'm really enjoying lately.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I don't know. Another number one I kind of liked was Grave Trancers from Black Mass Studios. That's a bit of a horror story. It's kind of like House of a Thousand Corpses, and it's just as messed up as that, and bleak and hopeless in a lot of ways. I liked it, but I can't read things or watch things like that too much.
No.
Because if it's as bleak as that, where you don't think any of the main characters are going to get out of this, and you feel bad for everyone that involved, I kind of I kind of had to take a breather from it. I read it and I was like shocked by the whole thing. It's very gritty and gross, but it's in a way that I'm a fan of because I'm a horror fan overall. That one I need a moment to process and stay away from for a little bit.
Oh. Okay.
But I do recommend it if you do like kind of like a really fucked up kind of stuff like that.
I gotta read more indie series. I don't read that much. I mean,
I read a lot of indie stuff. I like checking out the Black Mask #1s because they tend to pick up really interesting stories. Like Four Kids Walk Into a Bank. I just bought the trade collected edition of that. That's really good. If you can pick that up, read it. It's hilarious and so well written. It's so funny. It's so impactful and emotional. I love that book. But Black Mask is one to check out.
All right. Is that it?
That's all I've read so far. I have 2 more on my to-read block right now. The Wicked and Divine Christmas special and the newest issue of Royal City. But I'm saving those for after the podcast.
Okay. It's all right. You don't have to read it. we could wait for next week because there's books that I did read, but I have to I have to gather my thoughts about it, and then I have to read it. I'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, oh yeah, I can do that with those ones and whatever. I don't remember what I read, but I'm getting it tomorrow. But
so yeah, so all right, guys, I'm gonna end the podcast here, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I guess we'll talk to you next podcast.
Yeah, see you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.